Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to be going into Daniel, the 6th chapter. Just pretty much in Daniel, the 5th chapter, it dealt with the ending of the fall of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, in which Belshazzar was killed, and the kingdom, at least that portion there of Babylon, was taken over by Darius the Mede. Okay, so as we read on in the 6th chapter and I believe up until around like the 9th chapter or maybe even the 10th, you'll hear mention of Darius as well. Because at this point he is the one that's ruling in Babylon. Okay, and then on a higher level you have Cyrus, which is really the king over the whole Persian kingdom, because the Persians at this point are pretty much taken over, because it's now their time to rule. So this is Daniel chapter 6 verse 1. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And so this is talking about that region of Babylon. And pretty much it's like today, if you have funny, right? Today you have America, you have different states, you have different governors, and so on and so forth, that are set to govern each region, and that makes your life easier as a as a ruler. Okay. Verse 2, and over these three presidents. So he pretty much set up 20 princes, and then above them were 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. So whatever was going on, any records, any accounts, the princes would report up to the presidents, and they would pretty much take care of it. Verse 3, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. So they pretty much got envious, and they started hating on Daniel. So they were conspiring as to how they can find a reason to say, hey, this guy Daniel is doing this, or he did that, or he ain't right. So you got to get him up out of there. And that's why it says concerning the kingdom, they try to find out, is he maybe doing something that's not right? Is he stealing? Is he putting inaccurate numbers somewhere? Is he not keeping the correct records? But they couldn't find anything. Verse 5, then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. So they pretty much decided, you know what, we're not going to find anything on him when it comes to, to the kingdom. But we know that we can get him when it comes to his God, because at that point, if we can set the right trap, even if he knows it's a trap, he's going to step into it because it's pertaining to his God. So that's what they set out to do. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains, have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. And they knew that obviously the kind of man Daniel was. And they knew that he served a different God than them. And they knew that this would be the perfect trap, and that he would have to fall for this, because he was a faithful, man. So he wasn't going to say, oh, because because of a law of man, I'm not gonna make petition or pray to my God. So they knew that they would get him by doing this. Verse 8. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. It's kind of like how today they treat the Constitution, right? They're like, nah, that joint is like the Bible of America. You know, this is the word and it's final and everything goes back to it. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled down upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. See, because once again, even though he knew that this was the case, it wasn't going to stop him from praying to the Heavenly Father, because the Lord can deliver you from any situation, right? As we witnessed in Daniel the 3rd chapter with the 3 holy children who were put in somewhat of a similar situation where they were forced to bow down before an idol that Nebuchadnezzar made, but they refused to, right? Because they gave the higher reverence to the Most High rather than the fear of men. Verse 11. Then these men assembled, and let's actually look up the word assembled, because they knew, once again, they knew that they would catch Daniel praying, right? So it says to be in a tumult, to gather in a tumultuous throng, show tumultuousness, come thronging. So they gathered together, quick to come and catch Daniel, right? And found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Because if you really think about it, it would be one of 2 things, right? At least in their minds. Number 1, this guy Daniel is perfect at everything he's doing, and that's because his God is with him. We've heard the stories, right? Okay, but if we make this decree, then one of 2 things happens. He either stays faithful and he suffers the penalty and be put to death, or out of fear of the law that we put in place, he stops serving his God or stops praying to his God, and then he'll start to do bad. He probably won't be as good as excellent as he is before, because that excellency is coming because of the God that he keeps serving. So either way it goes, we're going to be able to sabotage him, and get him. But little did they know that this was all the doing of the Most High anyway. Verse 12. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. So they went, they saw Daniel, they said, oh, we got him. We need an audience with the king. They get there, oh, the king, long live the king. Praise my Lord. Okay, all right. And spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed the decree, that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the lion's den, or the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. So here it is, you ain't even supposed to do it once. He does it 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So basically, when Darius heard this, he wasn't like upset at Daniel, but it's one of those like, oh, damn, shit, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think that this would affect Daniel like that. So now he's like, damn, is there a way, to get about this, to get around this, right? Is there a way? Is there some loophole? But remember, this was a decree that according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, you can't change it. And these presidents and counselors that conspired, they thought it well to where it's very plain. You know, it's kind of like impossible to go around this. If you do this, this is the penalty, and we caught him doing this. So you can imagine Darius all restless. He got his servants searching through what are the different ways. Like today, if they were trying to find a way to go around the Constitution, and they're looking. Verse 15. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said to the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. But I'm sure you're aware of that, right, king? Verse 16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and cast him into the den of lions. So you can imagine he did it, but in his heart it was probably very reluctant. Now the king spake, and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought, and laid upon the mouth of the den. So they basically threw Daniel in here with these lions, and they sealed the den. So he's stuck in there. And the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords. And the signet is basically like, let me look it up, get you an image. Signet. So it says here, a small seal, especially one set in a ring. It's like what they use to, like almost like a stamp. All right. And so when you see that, you know that, okay, this is officially co-signed by the king. So you see this right here. For example, you would like dip this in like maybe some today, at least how a stamp works, you would dip it into some ink or something, and then you would stamp it onto like something. So I don't know exactly how they did it with the den, but you know, this is at least what a signet is. And it's pretty much used to officialize something. All right, so where are we at? Yeah, here we go. Verse 17. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So he was stressed. He was stressed that whole night. So he really loved Daniel. And why? Ultimately, why was that? That was because the Most High put that spirit of favor, you know, of Daniel into the eyes of the king. So Daniel was pretty much like his go-to guy. Verse 19. Then the king arose very early in the morning, and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? And he probably thought he was just giving out like a hopeless cry, even though he probably had like a tiny bit of hope that that Daniel's God would deliver him. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. Oh, and you could probably imagine the king's eyes pop. Oh shit, he's alive. He's alive. Verse 22. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. And this goes to show you, right? Because ultimately the Most High has dominion of everything. So whatever judgment that man can think of, that's still a creation of the Most High. If they tell you that, look, like here, they said the penalty is you're going to be thrown in a den of lions. Their mindset is, well, we know what lions do. They're going to kill you. But lions were created by the Most High, and the Most High controls them. So you say, I'm going to throw this guy who's serving the Most High into a den of lions, expecting the lions to kill him, as though the Most High can't override that and just put a spirit of just peace on them, like he did here. All right. So ultimately, that's and if this was in reverse, if the Most High said you're gonna die, like the prophet, what's that? 1 Kings, the 13th chapter, there was a prophet who the Lord sent to the northern kingdom to prophesy unto Jeroboam, and he disobeyed the Lord by not following fully the instructions of the Lord, because the Lord told him not to eat or drink anything in that land. And when he was to return home, he was to go back by another way, and not the way that he used to get to the land. And he ended up, being deceived by another prophet, and he ended up eating and drinking over there. Guess what? The Lord sent a lion after him, and the lion slew him. There was nothing anybody could have done to stop that from happening. Now, if it was the reverse, and maybe Jeroboam was trying to send an animal or something dangerous after him, the Most High would have had infinite ways to deliver him. So you always have to think about it that way. Okay? Make an enemy of man rather than the Lord. Because in that case, you'll always win. Verse 23. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. Quick, get him out. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Shit. So they threw them in there. You can imagine that, right? Maybe you got a 2-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, a 3-month infant. It don't matter. Threw their asses in that den and got torn up. And that's, you're reading of it here, but let me show you something. Let's put up like a vicious lion. All right. Or maybe even better. Let's do lion. I hope they don't. No. Let me not. Because if they pull up some image, YouTube gonna be like, oh, there's violence. You can't put that on here. So just take a look at these lions, right? Let's even maybe say lion hunting. All right. Yeah. Maybe this is not a bad one right here. So you see these lions? You see how they? Yeah. You see that? Look at that. And how they be going after these animals and attacking them with their claws and all. You tell me if they told you they're gonna throw your ass in a den full of these creatures, if that's gonna be a pleasant sight. Hell no. You, your wives, and your children. That was, they biting, grabbing onto the jugular, ripping. You hearing screams. Blood everywhere. These lions are tearing them up, breaking bones and all of that. So that judgment was that wasn't like a light judgment right there. Okay. Verse 25. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who have delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. And that's the end of Daniel chapter 6. So as you can see there, once again, in all these instances, there's always accounts of what happens, when you're faithful to the Lord, and how he pretty much delivers you from any situation. And these are some pretty, good examples of men that hazarded their lives to keep their faith in the Lord, and how, as a result of that, the Most High delivered them regardless of the situation. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Reka Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.